Good morning, Ratman. I'm your host, Jay. Sorry we're late. I went to the zoo. And joining me is my co-host, Corgi. She didn't go to the zoo. I saw Robert Irwin.
I wasn't invited.
No, you live in the wrong city.
So, you could have invited me as a common courtesy.
So, I went to a Games Workshop this weekend. I was looking at buying board games. And they've got the Warhammer Quest. And I wanted to see if, maybe we could play Warhammer Quest. And the guy at Games Workshop did his hardest to get me to not buy the game. It was really funny. Because I asked him, would this game be alright? Because, my wife doesn't really want to play a game that's too complicated. And he was like, oh, no, man. Nah. You don't want this.
What's so bad about it?
It's apparently, its rule book was 80 pages.
Fucking hell, you gotta study.
Yeah, apparently, games take, 6 months. You're supposed to, set a week a night for, 6 months to finish an entire campaign of a Warhammer Quest game.
So, in other words, it's just like playing Warhammer, except not as fun because it's a board game.
As time's gone on, Warhammer games are shorter. And it depends on how you, what rule set you want to play and that sort of stuff. So, I've considered getting back into Warhammer, playing Warhammer, but Kill Team. And Kill Team is designed to be 30-minute to 1 hour games. Whereas, a normal game of Warhammer can range from 2 to 6 hours, depending on how many units, what your point limit is, and that sort of thing. So you can have really long games. I think it's called Armageddon, is a game type where it's no, this will take days. This is a multi-day event.
Armageddon, where it feels just like the end of the world because you don't understand a single thing that's going on, and if you miss a single moment of dialogue, you're fucked.
Last time I ever played Warhammer was during the Armageddon launch event, way back in 2009? I don't know. I
was 8.
Yeah, I would have been 14, 15 at that time. And they had a big event, and it was 20 people playing one game, and it was hey, you made your turn, which was moving a few units forward, and now wait an hour before your turn comes around. It could have been done better, but they had 20 people and 2 refs. What are you gonna do?
Get another ref.
Yeah, that requires staffing more people, and most Games Workshops either have a staff of 1 to 2 people. When I was talking to this guy about Warhammer Quest, his co-worker came in. I sort of listened to the conversation and was just privately, but we could hear him be why are you trying to not have these people buy this game? And he was like, well, I don't want them to buy the game that they clearly don't want, or my wife clearly doesn't want. And one of the people that we also wanted to play with, she's a Taiwanese immigrant whose English is a second language. So be hey, you're not great at English. Here's an 80-page rule book. He was very much no, this is a bad game to do that with. Go buy Hero Quest, or Talisman was the other one.
Either way, if a normal English speaker... let me retry that. If someone who finds it fun to read Warhammer lore to explain to his idiot friend doesn't even want to read the 80-page rulebook, you kind of fucked.
I was fine reading the 80-page rulebook. My wife wasn't fine reading the 80-page rulebook. The models, though, mint fucking models. I kind of wanted to buy it just to get the models to paint them.
God, she already has enough to do with her job, and you're just hey, sweetheart, love of my life. Would you like to read an essay? Except the essay isn't any fun, and it likely doesn't have any pictures. Good luck.
So every month Warhammer does free models, and you can go in and get a free model, and I always bring her with me, so I get 2 models.
You heard it here first, folks.
It's great.
Gaming the system.
Yeah, you want 2 free models from Games Workshop? Life hack, get a wife.
That's the real reason you want me to move up there, so you can get 3
I could get 3 models. I did do that once. I took one of my clients to Games Workshop.
Oh my god.
And I got a 3rd model.
I thought you were going to say, and I used sympathy points to get more.
I have 3 Arbides models that I all got for free. Technically, I have 2. I painted one up and gave it to my dad because it looks like Judge Dredd.
Well, did your dad enjoy it at least?
I think it's sitting on his desk somewhere.
Oh, well, if his desk is anything like yours, good fucking luck.
I'm not a terrible painter, so it actually looks pretty good. Anyway, we're 6 minutes into the recording, and we haven't even started talking about 4th edition.
Cut.
So, this episode is about 4th edition, and the new lore drop in 4th edition, which came out a week and a half ago as of recording. Look, there was some production delays. So just some, like, before this, like, we get into the episode. The battle tome brings up ley lines and nexus points a lot and doesn't explain it at all. However, unfortunately, I am really into, like, pseudoscience bullshit. I don't believe any of it. I'm not a crazy person, but I am a crazy person, but that's a different thing.
Different story. Different.
I really enjoy this sort of. I think it works very well for fictional. Like, it's very good fiction, and like Corgi, you know my love for Hollow Earth and all that.
Oh.
How I get really into these pseudoscience bullshit of insane things that people are insane to believe. But ley lines and nexus points are from that. So I already knew what this was. I didn't have to Google it. But a ley line is basically if you take either
a concentrated point of energy where everything your mass is sort of creating.
No.
An energy point.
So if you take a point like a Neolithic structure or a natural wonder or something like that, and then you draw a line between those 2 points, that's a ley line, like a straight line on a map. And that line has increased magical energy. But then if you draw more ley lines between everything, when they cross over, that's a nexus point. And that's even more increased energy. This comes up a lot in 4th edition, which is why I'm explaining real-world pseudoscience bullshit before we get into Warhammer. In Age of Sigmar, the ley lines and nexus points help with building magical defenses for cities. So a lot of cities are built at nexus points.
Sort of like a Hearthstone.
Yeah. I don't know if it's like just a natural magical defense or it makes it easier for wizards to make magical defenses. And like just the nexus point provides extra power to defend it.
So it's kind of like you're starting a base somewhere and you're at a massive resource point. So you get, you have increased access to more resources, except the resource in this instance is power.
Yeah, you start with bonus mana. Construct a city and you get access to bonus mana.
Right.
So,
okay.
This leads us into 4th edition. When we last left the Skaven, they were in a bad way. It looked like they were going to have an outbreak of civil war between Clan Skya and Clan Pestilence. And then the 13th tower started glowing green. And then that was it for the Skaven.
And then they all died.
So, usually, when chaos attacks, there are omens or prophecy that predict it, so people are somewhat prepared. The soothsayers and doomsayers in human cities. Why the fuck did I forget the word city? In human cities, will start prophesizing, chaos is about to attack, and they can give warnings and the Stormcast will defend. Or same with, the elves and all that sort of like. This didn't happen for the Vermin Doom. The Vermin Doom came out of nowhere.
The Vermin Doom?
The Vermin Doom.
So Vermin Doom, it's not like a person, right?
No.
Vermin Doom isn't like, well, the vermin's fucking dead.
So, the Skaven snuck up with their Gnorholes and built mounds of warpstone underneath the nexuses of many cities. And on top of that, there were chaos worshippers, like chaos cultists in these cities, that were doing the same thing above the city. So building mounds of warpstone on top of the city.
Sorry, just the closest thing my brain can relate that to is like when you build a base under someone else's base in Rust, except you're a parasite under another parasite's house. Does that make sense? Do you know what the parasite thing is?
Like the movie?
No, that's what they call someone who lives under a base in someone's base in Rust. I think.
I've never played Rust.
Me neither, but I just remember watching a random video on it and being like, "Oh, that's kind of neat."
Fair enough. So then, Screech Vermin King and some Greyseers detonated a large amount of warpstone in the Great Parch, which is a continent in Akshi.
So the Great Parch?
Yeah, Great Parch, which is where Hammerhall is located in Akshi. You know, that city that exists in 2 realms at once?
Yes.
Yeah, that is located in the Great Parch. And Screech and the Greyseers blew it up. Not Hammerhall, but a large part of the Great Parch. The explosion destroyed a lot, and mutated the ground and thrust part of Blight's city into the mortal realms.
Oh, shit.
This occurred in many cities across all 8 realms at nexus points. In the hundreds. Which in the grand scheme of things doesn't seem like a lot. But they blew open the 8 realms and put Blight City in the mortal realms. It no longer exists exclusively in its own subvoid. It now also exists in the mortal realms itself. And you can just fall through into the void.
Well, that's fucking terrifying. Just one day you're going out to get your groceries, next thing you know, a rat comes out of nowhere and is like, hey, that's a hole there. Don't fall in that or you'll fall for eternity.
So, this caused a lot of destruction all over. The part of the Great Parch that they blew up was the east of the Great Parch. Then there's the Adamantine Chain, which is a chain of mountains, sort of like the Great Dividing Range in Australia. Local reference. And then on the west is where Hammerhall and all of the human cities sort of are. There were cities on the east. They don't exist anymore. So, the Adamantine Chain was riddled with earthquakes, destroying settlements. Pyroclastic blasts burned everything that wasn't underground. Dwarven halls were swarmed with Skaven, and what could only be assumed to be pestilence fuckery appeared, and people were consumed from the inside by parasites with worm-like tails who gnawed and clawed their way out. So like rat chestbursters, clawing their way out of the stomachs of humans.
Well, that's my new favourite thing to hear. Rat chestbursters.
Others just melted into flesh and fur blobs, mixing with other flesh and fur blobs to create a large mass of flesh and fur blob. In Hammerhall, stalls of grain instantly turned into masses of vermin that spilled into the streets and devoured everything in their way. Officials were assassinated, and the main powder works exploded in green flame that destroyed 7 districts, kinda like Beijing. Beijing, May 30th, 1626. Google it. After a few hours of this, the entire east of the Adamantine Chain had become an out and open haven for the Skaven.
They released the rats.
This is known as the Gnaw. I like how in both Age of Sigmar and Old World, Skaven tried really hard not to be known about and were very secretive. And if someone started to figure out too much, they got assassinated.
Assassinated? Can't say the actual word. Assassinated.
Assassinated by the Eshin.
Ah, assassinated. Yes, I get it.
How did you not get that? How did I have to explain that joke?
Because I thought it was a YouTube thing.
But now now the Skaven have abandoned all semblance of secrecy and are just here for all to see. They can't pretend they don't exist anymore. They just blew up half of a continent. They just sent their secret city through the earth itself into the realms.
So if you remember the analogy from the first episode, This time, you're the one appearing in the rat's kitchen, and you're eating its Vegemite.
Less...
It can't go away.
It's less you're appearing in the rat's kitchen, and more you turn around, and now the rat's kitchen is where your kitchen used to be. That's what's happened here.
Fucking weirdest episode of home renovation ever. We heard you wanted a new rustic kitchen, so we got you some rats. That's not what I wanted at all. It's what you get. What should I say? Rat stick kitchen.
And my ashishinated joke you didn't get. So, here's your Lovecraftian quote for the day, Corgan.
Oh, hell yeah.
It was a desolate wasteland of rubble, fire, and warpstone, over which loomed the protruding vastness of Blight's city. In the tortured sky above could be glimpsed the leering visage of a many-horned and verminous monstrosity, beady eyes agleam with triumph. Mortals who met the gaze of this abominable being clawed and gouged their eyes out in a frenzy of terror.
Well, that's just peachy, and that's why you don't look at the sun, because sometimes the sun turns out to be an evil rat god that drives you insane.
Now, if that were me, I just simply wouldn't claw my eyes out. Just don't do that, idiot.
Just accept it. Oh, fuck yeah, finally, I knew it was gonna happen!
Like, I know I've talked about this before with you, but I just hate the whole,
Insanity
you
thing.
saw a thing and you're mad now. That's not how that works. I much prefer just, the creeping madness that slowly settles in and takes months to slowly gnaw away at the back of your mind, which is just, more realistic.
Yeah, it's like having an existential crisis, except instead of, chugging a bunch of vodka and Red Bull and hoping that your heart doesn't give out, you just kill yourself because of a weird-looking fucking rat.
Yeah.
I'm sure New Yorkers have seen weirder. Let's be honest.
It's like the same concept of, people who lose their faith. It's just, the sudden realization of natural order and your place in it. And, most people who lose their faith, it's not just I don't believe in God anymore. It's doubt. And a slow creeping doubt of I don't think God exists, and trying to figure it out, and then ultimately realizing in their own way, I don't believe God exists. It's that same concept of realizing, everything that I thought was how the world works isn't how the world works. And you don't come to that sudden realization. You don't see a giant Lovecraftian god and go, alien gods, I guess I'm crazy now. You go, what the fuck was that? And then you spend months trying to figure that out, racking it in your mind until you realize, this sucks. Nothing matters. Absolutely nothing matters.
Nah, you just claw your eyes out.
Yeah, or you could just go, oh god, and claw your eyes out. I hate it. I hate it so much.
Yeah, it is a bit lazy.
That's why I really struggle with reading Lovecraft, was just the sheer amount of books that just end with, and then he went crazy! And it's cool. Maybe write something
he's in
better.
an asylum and he's writing about a fish god.
Yeah.
Oh, he went crazy because he found out that his family has a secret underground cult where they ate people, and he only found out because he followed the rats on the walls.
Yeah. And then that I made a Rats on the Walls reference in the second episode. Someone got it. But Rats on the Walls was the first Lovecraft book I ever read, or story I ever read. And it was me going, ooh, I might be in a rough ride for this one. And it was. Every other story ended the exact same way of, and then I died, and then I went crazy. And Rats on the Walls is, he gets into the basement and goes, and then I woke up in a mental institution and they told me I ate everyone. And it's okay, why?
That's the only reason he went into the mental asylum.
Why did that happen?
Because of what he named his cat.
Yeah, why did that happen? Because I needed to end the story. It sucked. Don't like Lovecraft. He's not a good writer.
No, but you know what they say. You got to appreciate the idiot for the path he paved for the genius.
Yeah.
Or something like that. I don't fucking know. I'm the idiot in this analogy.
Maybe that's why you love Lovecraft so much. Game recognizes game.
Probably, let's be honest, yeah. Wouldn't be surprised.
Doing all this proved to the other Chaos Gods that the Horned Rat was their equal. Their equal, and not some upstart lesser gods, because they all viewed, oh, we're the four gods, we're playing the great game, and the Horned Rat's just kind of there.
Okay.
They very much disregarded the Great Horned Rat. And now they're very much like, oh, okay, that this guy knows what he's doing. This guy can play the long game. This guy can cause destruction and chaos on a level that we have struggled to re-achieve after we did it the first time. And there are now...
Suffering from success.
There are now human chaos worshippers who worship the Great Horned Rat instead of the four other Chaos Gods.
So now it's 5 Chaos Gods who really just came out here and like, yeah.
They are now... The Great Horned Rat is now getting worshippers who aren't just the Skaven.
Good for him.
And obviously, the big problem for this, for the Forces of Order, was that for once, the 6 Skaven clans marched unified, giving everyone a glimpse at the unstoppable apocalypse that unified Skaven brings, and the only hope of it stopping being the Skaven themselves collapsing into disunity. If they never disband, it's over. All of the Forces of Order will be wiped out. Because as we discussed in the Skaven episode, the Skaven should win every single fight. And the only reason they're not winning every single fight is because they're a gaggle of fucking morons.
Because they're backstabbing rats. Yeah. If they weren't backstabbing rats, we'd be fucked.
But now they're all unified under Screech Vermin King. So they're still a gaggle of fucking morons, but they're led by someone who actually knows what the fuck he's doing. So, this led to what was called the Hour of Ruin by Doomsayers and the Second Age of Chaos by others. That's
a bit extreme.
As almost every city across the 8 realms faced some disaster. Whether it be a Vermintide, which is a mass horde of Skaven, is called a Vermintide, a horde of demons sent by Archon the Everchosen to capitalize on the chaos caused by the Vermin Doom, the Vermin Doom itself blowing up cities, or plagues spread by Grandfather Nurgle.
We love.
Even cities that were unscathed by war saw, that's a city, uprisings of Slaneshi and Tzeentchian cults. So they managed to avoid just the worst of it, only to then be overthrown from the inside.
That would suck.
Even...
Like, you're like, fuck, we managed to escape it, we can help others rebuild, and just, you know, the little fella comes waltzing in like, nah-uh-uh. No.
Yeah, a gaggle of naked people come running through the streets and just start stabbing people.
Oh, New York.
Or some other people just come running through the streets going, why does the bird have 2 heads? And then stab a bunch of people.
Because remember, kids, insanity either makes you kill yourself or kill others. Yeah. Nothing ever interesting.
As I referenced in a deleted scene, Kyra's Fate Weaver is a dick. Even cities that have successfully repelled the invaders are now stuck in prolonged sieges, and their realm gates have been cut off or corrupted by chaos to prevent retreat or reinforcements. So they are stuck, and they are alone, and they are constantly being attacked.
I don't know why, but that just makes me think of StarCraft.
Why does that make you think of StarCraft?
Because I'm just thinking of, I think it was the story mode I watched my cousin play, and he was playing Terrans, and he had, like, this one little base, and he was being encroached on all sides. Like, pretty much just getting fucked over. And that's just what I'm imagining, just like, they have an escape route.
That's just what happens when
the escape route is...
That's just what happens when you play a turtle in an RTS game. Which is what I do. I like building cities and then realize I actually have to, like, play and win the game. In this, Sigmar has decided to release the Ruination Chambers, who are Stormcasts who are so broken that they have all but lost their humanity. Machine men with machine minds that are as disturbing to the Stormcast as they are the enemy.
Ruination?
Yeah.
Love that. Very Cyberman.
they might just be on their last lives. They are so broken that if they die again, it's a real gamble whether or not they can be reforged, or they're just gone for good.
Like a cage of souls still walking around.
Yeah, basically. So, humanity is fighting to the very last and refusing to give up and surrender to chaos, which likely means a large amount of new Stormcast recruits.
Which is horrifying.
Yeah. I really like final stands, like heroic final stands in media, and we'll get more into this when we cover the Fall of Cadia. But like, it just like makes really good fiction, and it's fun when it also works out. Like the ride out to Helm's Deep. I haven't watched the Two Towers since it released on DVD whenever that came out. And
Probably like 2000.
yeah, you probably weren't born yet.
Won't be surprised.
I still occasionally rewatch the clip of the ride out from Helm's Deep because it's such a good scene. Just final stands are great. I love final stands.
Yeah, they're also fun to play as. It's why I fucking love Call of Duty Zombies.
So the Stormcast are stretched to breaking point. The world is aflame, and they just don't have enough water. Everything is going wrong all of the time.
Jeez, how are they going to get out of this one?
The elves continue their war against chaos, while the dwarves and the more isolationist elves are forced to accept that they can't hide from this, and they have to fight, and are leaving their cities and going out and fighting the forces of chaos, because they can't run. Ignoring it is extinction.
God, hell, fighting it seems like it's extinction too.
On the topic of dwarves, I had to go to get petrol the other day, and when
where is this going?
I had to go get petrol the other day, and I went to pay. The cashier saw my shirt and was like, "Yo, is that a Deep Rock Galactic shirt?" And I didn't realize what shirt I was wearing, and I was like, "Oh, yeah." And he was like, "Fuck yeah, brother, rock and stone." And then I just, like, as I was walking out, hit V, hit it with the rock and stone, brother, and then left. we have broken containment.
Dear God.
Rock and stone. I am looking forward to covering Deep Rock Galactic in 40k. Deep Rock Galactic exists in 40k. It's great. So, Sigmar is still sending out Dawnbringer Crusades to capture new land in the hopes it will cut off chaos supplies and restoring supply lines to the besieged cities. So, even though everything is going wrong, he's still trying his Reconquista. And there's glimmers of hope that it might just be working. And that about does it for the episode. As I said, Corgi, this will probably be a short one.
Oh, shit.
We're 40 minutes in, and I will probably cut maybe 10 minutes of this.
I'm just doing a little haunted armor thing. Like a giant piece of haunted armor with a cage at the heart.
I wanted to cover mostly just the updates for Stormcast and Skaven, which is why we've done the Stormcast and Skaven. There is some cool stuff in the books that we can get into as we cover those factions, like the vampire who bottled his blood and sold it as to wine to make vampire sleeper agents in cities.
That's fucking genius.
Yeah, it was really cool. As someone pointed out, I said in the last episode, I think, that vampires don't exist as a playable faction in Age of Sigmar. I got that from a guy I went to a Games Workshop store and asked about getting vampire units, and he was just like, there are none. There's no vampire faction. They don't exist anymore. That's not true. I was lied to.
You fucking lied?
Yes.
What a fucking dickbag.
There's the Flesh Eater Courts are like your sort of Nosferatu-esque faction.
Love that.
Yeah, they're really cool. I will send you a picture of their main guy and Carrion King. His model is beautiful. And then there is another one, Soulblight Gravelords. are the
Oh, that's fucking awesome.
the other faction of vampires. So there are 2 playable factions of vampires. I was lied to.
You were lied to twice.
Yeah. So thank you to the guy who pointed that out. I have not saved your name anywhere. You know who you are. And this also does it for our back-to-back episodes on Age of Sigmar. And we will be back with our first foray into 40k with the first army I have ever played way back in 4th edition, which will be a week for you guys and about 5 minutes for us. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed the episode, subscribe for more. If you like the episode, hit like. If you have any feedback, please comment, because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm very much winging this as we go along. And if there's any specific factions you guys want me to cover in our own weird little way, let me know, because I have the next episode planned, the next Age of Sigmar episode planned, and the next 40k episode planned, and then that's it. I don't know what I'm recording after that. I need to come up with some ideas. So any suggestions are greatly appreciated. And it doesn't just have to be Age of Sigmar. It could be Warhammer Fantasy, Fantasy Battles, Old World sort of thing. I'd be happy to cover that as well. Anyway, that about does it for this episode, and thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you. Hate Call of Duty. Love the zombies.
Call of Duty is bland.
Yeah.
In Black Ops,
So we're in another war?
I
Shock.
played a class in Black Ops. Black Ops was the last Call of Duty I played. And I would play Search and Destroy, and my class that I had built was specifically designed to annoy the fuck out of people. Like, I made all of the weapons that everyone hated.
Somehow that doesn't surprise me knowing.
I had an AK-74U with a noob tube. It was
Oh, you did.
so good.
I thought I was being cheap whenever I used the Galil.
Yeah. I was also at the zoo.
Oh, look at me, Mr. Fancy Pants McGee. Hi,
We were
Robert
supposed to
Irwin.
record on
Oh.
Thursday, and then it could have been pushed to Friday, but I was at the zoo on Friday. I saw Robert Irwin.
Oh, but did you see Robert Irwin?
Yeah, and a red panda.
Holy shit.
I've gone to that zoo twice, and both times Robert Irwin has been there. The first time it was his his birthday, and they played a video for him. It was him and his mum, Terry, and they played a video of Steve talking, like, it was a deleted scene from, or like B-roll for one of their documentaries, and it was just after Robert has been born, and he was talking about, you know, the birth of his son, how happy he is for the birth of his son, how awesome he is, and how he's excited to see him grow up, and like what type of man he'd become.
Ooh.
And like they showed that, and Robert was crying, and he was like, I've never seen this footage before. And it's like, dude, you just, this is a public like show that you have just gone, hey son, here's footage of your dead dad who died when you were 3 years old, talking about how excited he is to see what type of man you become. That's fucking heavy shit to put on someone in a public arena with a bunch of strangers.
On his birthday. On his birthday.
On his birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, Robert. Did you remember your dad's dead and he's not here to see
Yeah.
you?
Anyway.